All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to Talking Investing. We got George. We got
Hello.
Tom.
My name is George. How are you today?
George is back.
Me, happy man, kind of. I ate sugar for Tom. I'm like, you can't be. I was a Debbie Downer the other day.
Yeah, if that's what it takes. George is off sugar right now, but for the live stream, he's taking some sugar for the team.
Sacrificing my health for this channel.
Good afternoon, Barry and Gary and Darren and everybody.
I'm looking how. Thank you, Barry. I appreciate
Sour Melon
that.
Gaming. I'm gonna have. You'll have to catch me up on the. Can you? Can you?
Yeah,
read the
I'll
chat?
take him. Yeah.
I'm already way behind. We just started.
Yes, remember it was about a month ago. Somebody came on the stream and said, Tom and I were talking about who's the best miner, and for survivability and best upside, and I said Cleanspark.
That was your number one pick.
Yeah, that was my number one pick, and Tom's was Riot, which is there's still good stocks, either one of them, but this was for not going out of business, and the ones that I think had the most upside, and I think that was right, Tom, and that was going out of business was key.
Not going out of business was key. George went with more of a more upside. I think both of those are great stocks. This is not financial advice. In my opinion, I think both of those are two of my biggest holdings. So I would have a hard time arguing with either one. But today, Riot and Marathon all week this week they've been taking it on the chin. Today was a very strange day. We'll go through Bitcoin. It was absolutely just as sideways as you could possibly be. So I would say, for all intents and purposes, it was almost completely flat. Yet, half the Bitcoin miners had an awesome day and half the Bitcoin miners had a terrible day. And I really can't tell you why one of them falls into one category versus the other. For me, when I look at this, there's no rhyme or reason. And I'm particularly looking at Wolf, which there is some pump and dump situation going on with TeraWolf this week that is just mind-boggling. If you pull up the TeraWolf week, I guess I can do that. No, not for the week, for the day. All right, so you can't tell yet.
Now, just so everybody knows, now is when Bitcoin will take off. Usually what happens.
Like, look at this day. There was this gigantic day down, then it bottomed out, and then look at these 2 days in a row.
2 days in a row.
TeraWolf's all over the place. This was up, like today, this is 17%. Yesterday was, looks like 18%. So that's just in those 2 days. And then there was this day where everybody else was red and they had a giant green. So anyway, that's why I say pump and dump, because it's like down, up, down, up. And for me, if you guys watched my TeraWolf video, I'm worried about them. So I think there's concern there yet. They're over, they're at $1.21. They were way under $1. Let's see how far under. They got to 66 cents. And that was within the last 2 weeks. And now they're at $1.21. So that's almost a double. While Bitcoin has been, if we go back to Bitcoin, this is on the 15. I wanted to show on the 15-minute time frame because the yellow line or orange line, whatever it is, that's where Bitcoin was when the market closed yesterday. So you can see, we did not move today. It wasn't until right before the market opened this morning, we moved from the 17,200 area down to the 17,200 down to 17,100. That was our big giant move on the day. And then we stayed there all day. So this is the most sideways day I think yet ever. But every single miner had a different reaction. Did anybody buy anything today?
I mean, you gotta buy. Marathon blew through its 52-week low.
Yes,
that is definitely going
did.
to scare off. That's from Sour Melon Gaming. And then PG Cleanspark.
Marathon finally, at long last, Marathon was the last holdout. It was outperforming everybody, and I know there was a few people, some members included, that were agitated with that fact. And some of my charts reflect it looks like Marathon's the best performing stock, because from the summer lows, it has been the best performing stock. However, I did respond today to Gary that I think we can make a new chart now. I think the summer lows are not, the summer lows are out. It's now the December lows, because I believe with Marathon taking out its low, every single Bitcoin miner has hit a new low in December.
By the way, I'm not tipping my hat, but if I had a hat, I would be tipping it. Remember who said that they would go lower? Anyone? 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 Bueller? Anyone? Me? I said it. This guy right here.
There's your George moment.
And my whole theory, I think we're getting to the end of this, by the way. I don't think we're there yet, but I think we're getting very close to the end. I think if I was to give you a magic 8-ball or something like that, I would say in the next, I'm going to say 90 days, because there's still some uncertainty in the whole crypto market that probably is going to still affect Bitcoin, unfortunately.
There's a lot of uncertainty left. So there's some bad, I won't say bad news. There's some uncertainty left. There may be some more bad news ahead, but I still hold out, over the next 36 months, all of the gigantic good news, none of it's happened yet. So
I will say I did not get out when everybody's going to look and say, hey, did you get out? I got out of XRP because I was a little nervous about XRP. There's some shenanigans going on right now. But I am still in my miners because I think I'm going to stay there for a long, long time.
Gary bought some HUT at $1. Nice, Gary. I could not believe. I think it did get down to 99 cents at one point. So HUT under $1 is unbelievable. So hopefully you guys saw Sue's interview yesterday. I felt more confident after talking to her. I don't know what's going on with HUT today. HUT was down 7.4% today. Bitfarms was down 3.9%. Riot was down 4%. Marathon was down 7%. It's like there was
Tom, do they still have their Bitfarms? Do they still have their at the market offering?
They have an open at the market offering.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
That's gotta still be scaring people.
But they're not using it very much. I mean, in their quarterly reports, they show how much they're using it, and
I know, but we've all been burned so much with these companies when we see a nice little run go in and then bam, freaking management, drops a bomb on us and we're thinking we're making a good return and then bam, you know what I mean? That just hurts.
I hear you, and I think almost every single miner on this list still has an at-the-market offering, shelf offering that is open. But
really,
if you look in their quarterly reports, like they've all used them, but to the smallest extent possible, because they don't want to. You think HUT 8 wants to dilute their stock at $1 or Bitfarms at 49? Bitfarms closed at 49 cents today. I can't tell you how much Bitfarms I have because.
But if you think the company's going out of business, if they think that, or if they need money, they got to do it. You know what I mean?
They're taking the money if they need it, and that's what it should be there for. This is a bear cycle. This is a survival mode. So it's there if they need it, and at some point, somebody's going to try and start predicting when the bull run's going to start, and then they're going to start hitting their at the market and buying machines and upping their exahash and that. But that's not what's happening right now at all. The opposite.
So what did Sue say about mining something else besides Bitcoin? Did they get into that? Are they doing that, or they just turned them off?
No, they have some machines mining some of the other coins, and she mentioned, Raven coin and BT Ethereum Classic, but
there was
the economics
coin,
of it are
there was
not
another
good.
coin. There was another coin that she spoke very highly of, and I'm trying to think of the name of that coin. Do you remember the last video?
In this video or previously?
No, the previous video. You're
Well,
like, well, this is the coin that we think, and we're gonna put a big holding in there. Do you remember that? Who was that? Does anybody remember?
The only thing I know is she personally likes Polygon or Maddox. But she made it clear to say that is not, she's not saying that in her capacity at Hut 8.
Oh, I got you.
That's her personal opinion.
Okay. Did she share with you any type of production in Classic or anything?
No, and it's pennies on the dollar versus what people were getting mining Ethereum. All these GPUs that mined Ethereum, they're getting pennies on the dollar compared to what they were getting. It's the economics of it is not good. My guess is the vast majority of them everywhere are shut off. Now for Hut 8, they're in a different situation. They have a high performance computing business. So, they have 10,000 NVIDIA high-end computers, GPUs, that they can use in that business. So that is really, she basically said that's what they're going to do with those, and that's what they're in the middle of doing with those.
And then Ty's asking something about the marathon debt. He's saying it's not a big deal at all. There's uncertainty. But do you think they should buy King Mountain or move out of there? There's a processing center that, you remember the one that filed bankruptcy?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my concern with them is, and they just started to correct a little bit of this, their Marathon's debt was no problem to me at all until they borrowed $50 million in October in a move that mystified me personally. So, because they used their Bitcoin as security. And, they're not going to give a one-to-one. When you go use that as security, one of the things a lot of people don't understand is they think, okay, we took out a $50 million loan, so we got to set aside $50 million of Bitcoin to secure that loan. But that's not true. That was at a 65% loan to value. So they have to set aside, 75 or $80 million. And they got to the point where they did get called and they had to put more Bitcoin in trust to secure against this loan. Now in December,
they paid down some of it.
I guess that was November. In late November, they paid 20 million of that they paid down. But now is not the time for them to take on debt. That freed up some of their Bitcoin. They were down to less than 2,000, 1,950 unsecured Bitcoin. So, they had 11,000 and change. They have the most Bitcoin of anybody on their balance sheet, but it was almost all tied up. So now 4,000 of their Bitcoin is unsecured. And I'd like to see them keep moving in that direction. I'd much rather see them get their Bitcoin unsecured than take on the next, even though King Mountain might seem like a natural fit in that situation. Unless they want to, issue more equity to go do that, I would not. Any one of these companies that's borrowing money right now, in my personal opinion, is out of their mind.
They gotta do. So you're saying it's better to sell their Bitcoin that they're mining?
Sell your Bitcoin you're mining. If that's not enough, use your at the market program if you need a little to cover the difference. Because first of all, debt's hard to get. So, and the debt that these guys get is awful. Usually it's 2-year debt. It's at a high interest rate, so you're paying, between 8 and 12%. And this was back when things were good with Bitcoin. They were paying 8 to 12% interest and getting 24 to 36 month loans. So, that's principal and interest, which means you get a loan this month, next month you got a principal and interest payment that's due. So
those things suck.
Right, that you run out of runway in a hurry in that situation. So I think everybody, those who got debt, they have to do what they have to do with it. But to go get some now is nuts, in my opinion.
And for all the pilots out there, that means you pull hard back on that stick and hope the stick shaker doesn't start shaking. So anyways, bankruptcy is not in the books, Brown says about Marathon. I don't know if that's true or not. I think it's...
I don't think they're headed towards bankruptcy. I don't. I think they did start to take a big step in the wrong direction with that borrowing. They've taken a step in the right direction, but if they they got to be careful.
What's your Christian? What's your forecast on core?
My forecast on core
Is this sing
zero.
the song? 0. Na 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 na. Hey hey hey.
I don't know how.
Goodbye.
Here's my problem with core, and the reason that I say 0. This doesn't even mean they're going out of business. But at this point, I see no way around them going into bankruptcy, doing a reorganization, and at the end of the day, the shareholders are last in line. And there is no way there's going to be money. In my opinion, it would appear to me, based on a review of their financial statements, there is no money left for shareholders in this company, and it's not even close. So,
Barry, Mick O'Kiernan. Barry wanted his whole name said, so I said it. Hello, everyone. Robert. Marathon can choose to do nothing and wait. Ty said. I don't know.
The thing is, they got to keep paying principal and interest on the $30 million they just borrowed. Plus, remember, before that in September they borrowed another $50 million. So they have like $800 million of awesome debt. That debt is convertible debt. It's convertible to equity. None of it is due until the year 2026. They're paying 1% interest on that. Like, that was the greatest deal ever cut. So the $100 million they went and got after that, to me, was mystifying, because they just went and got $800 million of the best money you could get. Because here's the thing, they're either going to succeed and they're never going to pay that debt back, because it's convertible to equity at like $78 a share. And that might sound crazy, but if Marathon's not worth $78 a share in 2026, then they didn't get where they were going. So I think they're counting on that debt converting and never having to pay it back. So that debt's not an issue. And the 1% helps because, you know, even though it's a lot of money, 1% is a manageable, you know, monthly fee, and no principal due monthly.
Tom, it's time to go to your forecast for Bitcoin for next year, 2023. What are you thinking? Jay agrees with Sue that it's sideways until the second half of 2023.
Yeah, Sue just kind of, I didn't really even respond to that. She just kind of said, well, we're looking at third quarter, fourth quarter next year for the bull market to come back. My feelings are still the same. The bull market isn't the next step. We're in the middle of all this pain and misery that they're bringing. There's going to be some short period of time, but I think we're already in a period of time where we're going to be heading up versus down. And I know I'm the only, well, not the only person, but I am in the minority that believes that. Everybody out there has said, oh, 10,000. Now I hear people talking about 3,000. And I'm just...
Eight.
George is talking about 8,000. For me, I've looked at this every way I know how to look at it. Those numbers don't seem realistic to me. But I don't know the future. So I think the next milestone we're going to hit is 20. Or at least let me get up to my other line. I got a couple lines here that are, I got a million lines, but this one right here, 17,567, and we just cannot quite get there. We're almost right there. This was the flash crash in June. I think we got to get above this flash crash and confirm it as support, and then when we do that, we can start heading back up to this $19,200 green line on my chart. That held for so long, for months and months and months. So I think that's a very natural spot for us to return to. And, basically 20,000 was the peak of the last bull cycle back in 2017. So there's very definable goals in my mind above where we are right now that don't mean we're in some kind of full-blown Bitcoin bull market, Bitcoin to the moon, Bitcoin 60,000, Bitcoin all-time high. There's some realistic price targets along the way.
Sharman moved out of Bitfarm today. I had to move out of Bitfarm. I did a couple weeks ago. It hurt. And I remember it was like a dollar. What was it? $1.20.
Did she move into something else, or here?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It didn't.
I mean, to me, I
understand it. It hurts.
The pain is real. 49 cents is a number. If you would have told me 6 months ago, Bitfarms would be trading at 49 cents, I just wouldn't. I would have laughed.
Yeah.
But yet here we are. Bitfarms 49 cents, Hut $1, Hive $1.92, CleanSpark $2. I mean, Marathon got under $5 for a minute today.
You know what? You know what's crazy is that if that Sam Bankman French fries would have played in the Bitcoin, if he would have took his girlfriend and had, what was it, Alamino or something or whatever.
The Alameda Research.
Yeah, and played in the miners. Oh my goodness, we could have all made money.
Oh yeah, he should have been pumping his money over there.
Jeez, we could have all made money. Man. So Michael bought 2,000 shares of SWBI with a 10-cent dividend. They always recover. What's SWBI, Tom?
I don't know. SWBI? Sorry, I was reading somebody's.
SWBI. I don't know if that stands for Biatch. Maybe it does. I don't know.
What was the? I was zoning out.
SWBI.
Smith and Wesson.
Oh yeah.
SWBI.
I love Smith and Wesson. They moved to South Carolina.
Did they?
Yeah, they were up in Connecticut, and they said no soup for you. They said okay.
That surprises me that that's a $427 million market cap company.
You think that's too high?
I have not dug in on them ever at all. I've never looked at them for a second. I'll check them out. See what's going on. So I want to respond to Nicholas, who asked a question a long time ago. Okay, serious question. When Bitcoin hits bull market territory again, if you own a miner that survives crypto winter, does it really matter what you own to make money? I bought more Hive. So my only big, giant caveat to that is, I mean, there's, I watch 18 or 20 of these miners. There's more than that are publicly traded. What matters is that you do need to pick one of the winners. You do need to pick a survivor. And, there's a chance that half of these go under. There's a chance that 3/4 of these go under. And then there's a chance that all turns around tomorrow and, everybody makes it. But I think most people think that a lot of these Bitcoin miners are not going to survive. And I'll tell you, survive, you're talking about making money. So let's say, for instance, and I'm just not picking on them, I'm just using as an example, let's say DigiHost survives. If they survive and get from a half an exahash to 1 exahash, and that's where they are at the halving, okay, they survived. But no, you're not going to make money like you would in, if Riot does what they're supposed to do and gets to 12.5 exahash, and I'm just using them as an example, let's say if one of the survivors that has done things the right way, kept their debt down, they're increasing their exahash in an affordable way, because, some of these people increased their exahash, but it was at such a cost that they have debt left over that just is going to roll them over. And I don't know what they can do about it. Unless somehow Bitcoin just all of a sudden mystically goes into a raging bull market. There's a lot of these companies that even if they survive, they're going to go through a massive restructuring. Some of them, Stronghold already did this. Mawson sold their Atlanta plant to CleanSpark. We had Iris Energy just gave their machines back. They were like, hi, here you go. We don't owe you $100 million anymore. Here's the machines. So, we're starting to see all that happen. So, yeah, I think there's a handful of winners, and if you're in one of those, the upside is gigantic in my opinion.
AJ says Bitcoin is just waiting to be officially declared a commodity. That would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's talked about. Everybody has talked about it as a commodity, and there's almost nobody that thinks it's going to end up under the SEC. But until all that's official, that's a giant weight pushing Bitcoin down. So that's one of the catalysts that is out there that's going to be a positive catalyst. When all this stuff gets straightened out, however it gets straightened out, it's going to be a positive catalyst because people are going to know the answer, and uncertainty is what drives the market down.
Did you attend the conference last night for the Bitcoin conference?
No.
Oh, I totally forgot about it again. They're going to freaking shoot me. That's like the third time. They're like, okay, got to be there. This one's mandatory. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. This is one of the reasons why I think Bitcoin's going to be sideways until middle. They pushed the Bitcoin conference off until May, and I almost want to say it's like the 20th of May. It's not the beginning of May, it's the end of May. And I was like, why would they put the Bitcoin off all the way until May when you have a conference in Miami, you want it to be in February, because that's when everybody wants to go to Miami. No one wants to go to Miami probably after April 19th, okay? Because it just gets so freaking hot there. But, so they pushed that off. There has to be a reason why they pushed that off. They know more than we know, I think. And
well, they better.
Yeah, they better, right. But they're good. It's a good time and good people over there, so FYI, just a little food for thought. Gary says Riot and Hut have best balance sheets.
I agree, Gary. I mean, Riot and Hut have the best balance sheets. I think that's an objective truth. Now, that doesn't mean they have the best prospects as a company going forward. There's lots of other variables, but from a strength of balance sheet standpoint, I mean, there's some other, to a smaller scale, there's some companies that I am not invested in and really would not. I'll give you an example. Bit Digital's balance sheet is outstanding, but I'm not interested in Bit Digital because I don't see their path to 2 exahash. Never mind BTBT.
Yeah.
So they're not. If you're shorting them and you think they're going out of business, good luck. They have a strong balance sheet, but that doesn't make me want to invest in them because the rest of their story doesn't say, they're going to get where some of the other companies I think are going to get. Now, maybe they'll prove me wrong. So, I don't know.
Robert asked, with HUD, is it the lack of growth or is concerning, or is it more about the temporary power issues that they're having?
I think it's absolutely both. I think it's less the lack of growth right now. I think this uncertainty until they resolve this power situation is driving their price down. Also, I mean, when you look at the board today, it looks like there's some stocks doing well and some stocks that are not because there was some really green and some really red. But if we look at every single stock on this list is down between, I think, 93 and 99% from their highs. That does not include MicroStrategy. So I include that on the list because they're a Bitcoin related play, but they're not a Bitcoin miner.
Shim says, good luck with Hut to Charmaine. Made 6-figure on the spike this summer. Woo woo. In principle, I love Hut and of course Sue.
Jay is saying, Tom, I'm guessing I have more Bitfarm than you, not a contest. You very well might, Jay. I just know that's a big position for me. So if it's a big one for you too, you might have more. Well, good. That means you're confident in it.
Are you that confident in Bitfarm, Tom? I mean,
I am. I continued to add. I added this week.
Did you? Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
Let's just wave the magic wand, and Bitcoin is just trading at 25,000. Where do you think Bitfarm's going to be?
I think Bitfarms, they should snap back to over $2. Like, if Bitcoin can get back to anywhere from $22,000 to $25,000, Bitcoin or Bitfarms, in my opinion, should be at least back to $2 a share. I think at $2 a share they're low.
Do you see more price? Do you think we're going to stay stable on Bitcoin till the end of the year, or you think it's going down?
I mean, this has been, I want to go to the 1 day because this has been the most sideways activity. If you look at, like, we had this giant green candle. This was November 30th. So if you look at the month of December, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These 9 days in a row, I mean, this is all within a $500 range, basically. I mean, yeah, it popped out of that for a couple of seconds a couple times, but for Bitcoin to trade in a $500 range for a week and a half.
How does it stay that stable? How does it? You know what I
It's
mean? Regardless of volume, because if you look at the bottom and you look at the volume, it's low and high and low.
it's mystifying to me that we've gone this many days in a row not making a break in either direction. Usually you would get some movement, but we're just absolutely sideways. Alex, happy Friday. I'm just behind. I'm just getting to some of these.
I'm trying to do most of them.
JD said, "What is
Please
it?"
don't fire me again, Tom.
You're doing great, George.
Okay, thanks.
JD said, "What is a good buy-in price for Marathon?" So I don't know what the answer to that is. I mean, they got under $5 today. They hit their real 2-year low. It's not their all-time low because, you know, they were one of the originals that was trading for pennies, but that's a 2-year low for them. And I don't know how much lower they can go. I mean, already Riot has passed them in market cap. I mean, Marathon's headed down towards, you know, 500 million. Let's go look. I mean, they're down. They're at $584 million market cap. Now, that is much bigger than most of the rest of the Bitcoin miners. But understand, you guys know that Marathon and Riot have a different formula. They're much bigger companies. And so for Marathon to be at 584 million, they were at last November, they were at 7.5 billion. Wow. So, you know, that's a
beatdown.
That's a beatdown. How low can they go? I don't know. I mean, if this was one of the companies I had conviction in, I'd probably be dollar cost averaging in right now. I mean, this is their 2-year low.
Why don't you have conviction in Marathon right now? Just because of that thing of how they tied up their Bitcoin?
I think they're going to get out of that note just fine. I would like to see some more consistent performance from them. There's companies.
You don't think they turned them off because it costs so much to mine them?
I think they did, but that means I want to see their next quarterly report. I want to see what they're paying per. We've never really got to see what Marathon is paying per Bitcoin because they were using the old coal mine to mine Bitcoin, so we knew what that price was, but every single one of those machines is now shut off. Then they went through a quarter where they really didn't mine any Bitcoin. So, you know, the number that it cost per Bitcoin made no sense because they mined so few Bitcoin, they didn't get to the economies of scale of the size of their business. So that number made no sense. I'm waiting for one financial statement, a 3-month period, a quarter, where they're up and running at capacity, mining Bitcoin, and we get to see what their cost is per Bitcoin.
So what you're saying is they're funny. They're funny with the numbers.
It's not that they're playing games. It's just that the progression of how their business has gone, they stalled out for so long in the year 2022 that we never really got to see a real picture of what, you know, what their income statement is going to look like, even at these low numbers. The cost is the cost, right? I don't look so much at the top line. We all know Bitcoin's been beaten up, so we get monthly reports. We know exactly how many Bitcoin all these companies mined. So the top number on these quarterly reports is no surprise. We know what they're going to be. But that cost, that direct energy cost, that is important. And I have no handle on what Marathon, you know, we can only go by what they say. But if you look at all these companies and you go through their investor packages, and then you calculate, you know, their from their financial statements, you'll see there's a pretty big difference usually, and it's because energy has fluctuated so violently this year that it's a hard number to pinpoint. So I have nothing against. It's funny. There's half the people out there think I hate Marathon, and half the people out there think I love Marathon. I'm very neutral on this company. I think they could end up, you know, if they do everything that they said they're going to do, they could end up being one of the big winners. Having said that,
with Marathon, this is what gets me, and I guess I have to voice my frustration.
Do it.
Everybody talked about how they were convinced that they were not going to sell their Bitcoin because of the price, and they said it's only going up. It's only going up. But obviously, they don't agree with that, because if they agreed with that, they would be mining. They would be balls to the wall and mining Bitcoin nonstop as much as they possibly could right now.
The only counterpoint I will give to that is they're low on cash. I mean, if they were to go full mining capacity, and And once again, they've stalled out. They talked about getting to 23 exahash. You know, they put that off and they put that off.
I told you that wasn't happening.
Yeah. So this is the first month they don't talk about 23 exahash in the November monthly operational update. So this is the first time they have not mentioned that number since they started mentioning it almost a year ago. So I don't know what to take from that. They didn't mention a different number. They just left it alone and said they're going to continue to grow. But they went from 7 exahash to 7 exahash from October to November.
So basically, they're in conserve cache mode to get through for the next.
That's what I think, and
8,
that's
9, 10 months.
Whatever it is to me.
They have how many months can they go then?
Well, they just helped themselves by freeing up. It depends where Bitcoin goes, because
say it stays at 17,000 where it's at right now.
I mean, I think they're still trading at $5. They're still a $584 million market cap. Their monthly overhead is not that much money. They could continue to use their at-the-market offering, even though no one's going to be happy with that. They could survive a long time, in my opinion, as long as they don't go get more debt and get to a point where they default. What's driving most of these companies is they're having principal to pay back on their debt, and they don't have the money for it, and so they're defaulting on their debt, and that's the beginning, really, of the end in many instances. It's not 100%, but you know that puts you in a different realm.
Did Core release numbers for last month?
Core has not put out their November operational update. So
is it normally out by now?
Yes.
Oh, that's not good.
So Core did not put theirs out. Hive did just put theirs out. I have not made my video on Hive yet. I do have a few interesting observations from their monthly report, so I think I'm going to do that over the weekend. I'm trying to catch up, guys. I fell behind on the chat.
I was doing good. Oh, mention about Grayscale. Risking Grayscale and ETH no longer worth the discount to me, moving assets away from these and adding to miners. Douglas says that.
That was Douglas.
Do you agree?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're spreading a lot of fear about Grayscale. I think and the discount is massive right now.
You think it's FUD?
I think they have related parties that have a problem, and I don't think it's going to affect them. That's my opinion. I think it is worth the risk reward. But having said that, I understand somebody that doesn't. It's definitely a situation right now.
Do you own any?
No, I don't. I have never owned any Grayscale. I don't own any right now. Part of me feels like just going heavy on Grayscale. I mean, I think it was over 40%, pushing 50% over the last couple days, the discount. So, you know, but who knows? Your money could be tied up there there's the opportunity cost of using your money. It may take them 2-3 years to get turned into an ETF. They may never win that battle. So, you know, there's risk. Or, you know, one of their sister companies, if you will, may end up being a contagion to them. It does not look like that to me. From everything that I've researched, I don't see any way where that's how this ends. But I can't say that, for a fact.
Michael, I think we kind of answered that. Which is better, Marathon or Riot? And why do you feel that way? I go with Riot.
Yeah, for me personally,
I like no debt.
Riot,
or limited debt.
Right. Riot's got no debt, and their performance has been more consistent. They too have struggled to be as efficient as some of the other top efficiency mining companies, but they did address that in this month's operational update. They are moving to a new pool. So they're in a pool that pays out on a different methodology, and it is not working out for them. So I expect a big jump in their productivity. Partly in December, and then, you know, it should be full-blown in January. That's my expectation. Gary's saying marathons probably cost about $22,000 a coin, so they're losing with every coin. I think that's probably close, Gary. So that makes it hard. To George's point, if they think that Bitcoin's going to $100,000 someday, they should do as much as they can. But there's a cash flow situation. If you're losing $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 every time you mine a coin, you can only do so much of that.
Yeah.
From a cash flow situation.
Yep. Shim says HUD, CleanSpark, Hive, and Bitfarms are great companies, but have struggled as the concern of Bitcoin is 17,000. Very true. Very sad, but true. True, true, true. Why is Bitfarms cost so cheap compared to everybody else? Barry's asking that question.
So the one thing that's a little misleading is they're at 49 cents, so it looks like they're giving them away. But if you look at market cap, and the market cap is getting to a ridiculously low spot, but it still is. Let me get there.
Tom, can you get there?
They're at $107 million in market cap. So to me, I think that's ridiculous. Again, this was over $1 billion company. I think it peaked at like $1.5 billion. So this is down in a ridiculous manner, but they have more shares of stock. So because of that, their stock price is lower. They're a $100 million company. If you go to, like, let's say, for instance, so I'm going to show, like, where's Gree? Gree's trading at 50 cents. So that's trading at 1 penny more than Bitfarms. But if you look at their stock, they're only a $22 million company versus a $100 million company. So it's crucial to always bear in mind how many shares are outstanding and what is the market cap, and what is the market cap compared to the historical market cap. So that's one piece of the puzzle. So, at 50 cents and 49 cents, these look like the same stock, but they're not at all. And for me personally, I think they're the complete opposite. I have my concerns about greenage. My personal opinion, but they're in a debt situation, and they're in a very different spot, in my opinion, than Bitfarms is. So we'll see. I'm not saying they're done. I would have concerns about them, in my opinion.
Gary says, define what you want in best. What do you mean by, I don't know what that really means, but I think who you want in best? I don't know.
Who's the best miner?
Yeah, I don't know what Gary, write something else. I don't know what you mean by that.
Alex, I'm still way back on Alex saying Core will not keep their current shareholders. So essentially, I think Alex is saying the same thing. That means Core's going to zero.
Core's done. And it's funny, because if you would have met all these CEOs, like we didn't, but we got to sit right next to them, you just get vibes from everybody, It's hard to explain, but that vibe would have been kind of what happened. You know what I said to him? Oy vey, why are you taking on so much debt?
Without really even knowing their financial position when we went to that Bitcoin mining thing, you did not get a good vibe. You had mentioned that at the conference.
Yeah, I'm a vibe person.
Gary said
I got a good vibe from Sue, though.
You got, all right, so there you go. So, hot 8, everyone.
I'm sorry.
Gary's saying institutions moving away from Marathon to CleanSpark.
Did I say Hive?
I don't know. Hive hot.
No, I know it's hot, but maybe she gave me the hives. Oh no.
Boy.
Sorry. I really like Iris, but it's a long shot. Do you think there's a chance that Iris can make it?
Do I think there's a chance?
Yeah.
I think there's an excellent chance that Iris can make it. Iris was able to give back their machines and just walk away from $100 million of debt. So they will now pay zero on that debt. And they set their company up so that the parent company, the publicly traded company, had no core. They couldn't breach to the parent company. So
now they were able to just multiple corporations.
Yeah, and it's tough to, and you still, even with all that, you have to set it up so that the loan was non-recourse to the other companies, And the bank, or the lender, I should say, did that for them. They made it, it was a recourse loan for the subsidiary, and the recourse was the machines that they had collateralized. But for Iris, it was totally non-recourse. So they just gave the machines back and said, good luck. So that changed. That went from had that $100 million been recourse, I would have a completely different opinion. I would say they were in deep trouble, but they just got to walk away. So I think they get to rebuild, and they've got, I think they have a good chance of doing well. I don't own any of them right now, but they're somebody I'm looking at.
When do we have a sell-off for people to take profits for the year or take losses for the washout?
I mean, it's December right now, so if did anybody make any money this year? Speaking personally, this was not a great year for me. There was a couple of sectors where people might have had recognized some gains, but honestly, almost every single stock. I wanted to bring up a list. I just can't find it. It was 30 companies that are still run by their founder and how they did this year, and they were all mega market cap. I won't say mega, but they were all $20 billion or bigger, and they were all down from 65% to 90%. So there was nowhere to hide this year. You could hide in some healthcare stocks. You could hide in Exxon, some of the energy stocks. If Jeff is on here, he knows that you could have hid in supermarkets. Was a safe play this year, but there's not a lot. Let's just say this. There is much less money this year trying to, sell their losses so they can use them against their gains, because the gains were not there this year like they were, in 2020. That's actually one of the things that was a catalyst to really end the whole run. That sell-off in December of 2020, there was still a little bit of a run-up in January and February of 2021, and then it was pretty much over for the small cap stocks. They've been down ever since.
Down, 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 down. Down. Uh-oh.
What?
They suspended my Kudab account.
They did?
Dude, they have, in Twitter, they have suspended more accounts than I've ever, in the last, since Elon took it.
What'd you say?
Before. No, it's not my account. I want the name, so I look for it.
Oh.
And they just said that account was suspended. It's probably because one of the things that Twitter did is once you made an account, they never deleted it. It doesn't matter if you did activity or not did activity. They just was like, another account. Great.
Yeah, so they could count their...
Yeah, they could count as a user.
Gary is saying, I'm just trying to catch up. Gary's saying, funny, they weren't even a miner when they named themselves CleanSpark. Yeah, I mean, CleanSpark, I guess it's been longer than I think, but 2 years ago, they were not a Bitcoin miner. They were microgrid. And that's now, they're still selling off the last pieces of that part of their equation, but that's not at all what they're doing anymore.
Oh, that's a good one.
Barry's saying 49 cents is temporary. I completely agree. And he's talking about Bitfarms, I assume, on that. It's wild, because now for Bitfarms to get to $1, it's got to go up 100%. So that's why you see such crazy moves in cryptocurrency. When something's beaten down this badly, even for it to get back to a place that's pretty near its all-time low, you could have 100% movement on it. Alex said there would be a problem with a sub $1 stock in NASDAQ. I'm not quite sure, but I think the NASDAQ doesn't let companies have sub $1 stock for a long time. So yes, that is true. There's rules, and I can't remember if it's 180 days. You get notices, and ultimately, eventually, if they have to, they will do a reverse stock split. I feel like it's not going to get to that, but maybe, I feel less confident of that than I did a month ago. Sitting at 49 cents, it's not hard to imagine that at some point it is possible that Bitfarms would have to do a reverse stock split. I still don't think it's going to happen. That's my personal opinion.
I still lost money today. Unfreaking real. It's just freaking unbelievable. Sorry. Hut. They're really picking on Hut.
The market is, or the chat is?
No, everybody's picking on Hut. I mean, the market is. It's just unbelievable.
Oh, I'm finally caught up to what you said about 20 minutes ago, so that'll tell you where I am.
Freaking, I can't believe this. I've been debating getting out, and I just always think we're going to get this run that never comes. This Christmas rally.
Oh, hey, everybody.
I don't want.
Sorry to interrupt. George, you're going to be happy. I'm interrupting you, but you're going to be happy. Apparently, Phonebook-san was just letting us know that we got over 100 people simultaneously for the first time ever on the live stream.
Thanks.
We kept up, and we're at 100 exactly right now. So thank you. Take this time to thank everybody for joining us on the live stream. Yes, please. I'm supposed to be hitting the button. There we go.
There you go.
Everybody I think you guys are probably all subscribed. And I'm just going to point out, let everybody know, and a bunch of you have already taken advantage of this. We do have a membership on the channel, and we've gone with YouTube, so you don't have to go to a third party or anything else. So there's just a button on YouTube where you can just join to become a member. It's $5 a month, so we tried to keep it at a very low, entry point. So if you're interested in that, we do a live stream once a week where we're able to talk a little bit more freely amongst ourselves.
We can say 3 letters. We can say 3 letters that we can't say now.
Yeah, there's several phrases that we do not say.
We've learned.
We know the algorithm, so there's certain
we have learned
words we can't say on the regular live stream. So we talk about some other stuff. And once a week, the members pick a video, a company, and we vote on it, and then I'll do a deep dive on that. So, and there's some other stuff too. So, Anthony,
thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
You take it. I'll let you take
appreciated.
It, and then I'm going to give you my answer.
That is for Anthony. Thank you, sir.
Best miner to buy right now with long-term future. So I think there's going to be multiple answers, isn't there? So meaning that they're going to stay open, or biggest upside on the miner? I'm saying Cleanspark, just so you know.
What's the question?
Best miner to buy right now with long-term future. And I think what he's saying, very low risk of going out of business and the most upside. That's what I believe is what he's saying.
And that's the biggest difference, even though I think there's a very low risk of Cleanspark going out of business. So, very low is not right. For me personally, I have separated the Bitcoin miners into 3 groups. They're all high risk in comparison to a regular, your average stock in the stock market. This is a small cap, high growth area. So by nature, they're high risk. But for me, within that context of all of them being high risk, I've ranked them low, medium, and high within that. So to me, Riot is low, and Cleanspark is still a medium risk company to me. I think they're strong. I think they've made smart move after smart move. They're one of my big positions.
You're gonna get a phone call. Sorry.
But listen, they're due to come back on the show actually, so I'd like to have them back on. And I love what they're doing. I'm just saying they have taken on a little. They've been aggressive in 2022, whereas some of the other companies like Core Scientific got massively. Core Scientific, TerraWolf, Cypher. If you guys remember, any /3D was going to take over the world. They were going to be 32 exahash. And
I'll
So
never forget that pump. We got the best computer ever. Check this thing out.
So there was a lot of people got aggressive in 2021. They paid very high prices for their machines, and that turned out to be a big mistake, especially the ones who took on debt for that. CleanSpark has been the most aggressive company in 2022. In my opinion, I think there could be no debate. They have been the most aggressive. They made the most moves. They've added exahash. They've twice exceeded their year-end exahash goal. So, and I think they're going to do it one more time and exceed it a third time and get to 6 exahash by the end of the year. So, I mean, they cranked this year. They have a good cost. So far, it seems like they have control over their cost, and they've bought all these Bitcoin miners. Some of them they bought at $28. Some of them they bought at $17 a terahash. So, these are low numbers compared to what people were doing on these gigantic, ordering 80,000 machines at $80 a terahash or $60 a terahash. That was turned out to be a formula for disaster, just based on the fact that what happened to Bitcoin, subsequent to that, obviously. So,
Do you think Sam, the French fry guy,
Sam Bankman-Fried.
What is it, FTX? Do you think any of that has to do with the current price of Bitcoin? Do you think there's like a percentage that's down just because of that?
I'll show you my answer to that. I'll give you a visual answer. See this red candle and this red candle? Those 2 days were FTX.
Wow.
So the fact is we were, closing in on 21,000. FTX happened, and now we're sideways at 17,000. So, yeah, I think there's about a $3,500 hit that Bitcoin took. We did get as low as, well, let's see what the actual 15,460 according to this chart. This is on Coinbase, I think. So, every chart shows a little bit of a different number, but somewhere in the $15,500 range is where we got down to. We're settling somewhere here in the $17,000 range, whether it's 16,800 or 17,100. But to me, this is all unnatural price activity, and it's all from FTX. I mean, these are monumental red candles. This is just daily candles. This was, this is when the whisper started, and then this is when it all unfolded.
Can you start from the peak to the bottom? I just want to know how much it dropped.
From
the peak of that red candle, you know what I mean? Right there, all the way to the bottom. I wonder what percentage is that? Yeah.
We'll go down to this one. That was about a 28% drop. So, yeah, I mean, in a Bitcoin 21,000, which is low, that was already low. You know what I mean? We were already massively down in Bitcoin, and, we took this hit. That's why I'm saying, like, if you go back, I have a line from here. This was in June. We flash crashed. So if you look at this one day, this is a one-day candle in June. We got down to 17,000. Let's see. We got down to 17,567, but we closed at 18,948, so just shy of 19,000. So that was a flash crash. That's what a flash crash looks like. So, when people say, oh, it can get down to this number or that number, there's almost no number that Bitcoin can't flash crash to. But the fact is, it closed at about 19,000 on that day. So that to me is the number that's meaningful. And then it stayed there or above. All right. Anthony.
I have to tell you, Anthony, I'm going to tell you something funny because of that last name. I read a book that changed my life, and the last name was... Do you know what it was, Tim?
Napolitano.
Yeah. It was Napoleon. I think it was Napoleon.
Well, that is not the same.
Well, it's pretty close, though. It has a lot of the same letters in it, doesn't it?
Thank you, Anthony, and let's answer his question. So, is the answer Riot as safest with good upside? I mean, that's the answer that I gave last week. Riot I think, is the safest with good upside, but there's 3 or 4 that are super, super close, in my opinion. But Riot I don't have very many stocks in the lower risk category. And the other ones that are in there are not stocks that I'm a big fan of because I don't see where the upside is for them. Riot has hit that sweet spot where They've managed their risk, and there's still massive upside. I think CleanSpark might be next in line. That's George's first pick. Would that, so to answer Anthony's question, George, would that be what would be your pick?
Well, and I'm going to tell you why I like CleanSpark, even though you pick on their debt. And maybe I might be wrong with this information I'm going to say, and this is normal retail guys, how we think. And that is this. Do they still own their other business? Or did they sell it off?
CleanSpark?
Yes.
They have sold off most of the pieces of that business.
Oh, okay. Well, that was the reason why I was picking it. Because I felt that they had something else. Because one of the things that you have to sometimes do, and most people don't like it, but you have to do it, in order to stay in business, you got to, if you're a hamburger company, you got to sell something else, and maybe it's selling, I don't know, freaking plates or something, just to stay in business.
Your example is perfect. Look at all the hamburger joints now have what? They've all got a chicken sandwich. They've all got a, they got coffee now. So, and I would be remiss to say that Hut is one of my lower risk on the spectrum of risk amongst Bitcoin miners. I have to preface that because obviously these are all higher risk type companies, but to me, Hut is there at the low end.
Don't pick on me. I'm honest. No, everybody's picking on me. I'm being honest. I didn't know. I just thought they still had it. I remember them talking about selling it, but I didn't know if it actually went through or not.
They've been selling piecemeal pieces of that. So you've been called out twice on the live stream.
Hit the button.
Oh,
hit
bam.
the button.
It's time to hit the George. But I blew it. I missed that. It was a golden opportunity.
No, but I mean, that's always why, as I figured, if you got a way to make other revenue to keep your business, keep the lights on, and literally keep the lights on, or keep the miners spinning, that's the key, and that's what you need. You need a cash flow.
So let me ask you this question in that spirit. Hut 8 has, at the beginning of this year, so they're about a year into the high performance computing business. That is not correlated. So as crypto, that does not go as cryptocurrency goes. So, and it's cash money versus, they're still hodling all their Bitcoin. So they've diversified their revenue streams, and that's a business they intend to grow. As Sue said yesterday, the industry is growing at 11% compound annual growth rate, and they expect to, compete with that, if not do better. So that, to me, if they didn't have their power issue right now, I would flip and I would go with Hut. But the uncertainty of the power issue, I mean, that's...
And guess what? I only have 2 holdings, and guess what they are? CleanSpark and Hut. That's it.
That's true.
That's it. That's all I have. Everything else is cash.
I just want to say that Barry says, sometimes I think George doesn't watch all of Tom's videos.
I do. I watch all of them. You didn't say listen. I watch them all. You guys might not understand this. I actually run a company that's in 4 states.
George has a lot of plates spinning. That is
true. It's crazy. And I just got like 3 houses to build in Florida.
Jay is saying, at Brooke, as far as I know, Riot has not power issues like Hut, and has about 5x the cash of Hut. So, Riot's on a bigger scale than Hut, no doubt. So that's why I would put Riot ahead of Hut, but I put them in the same conversation, for me anyway.
But I'm still going to call out one thing, because I see Kevin's on. Oh, somebody mentioned something about how do we feel about Mr. Not Wonderful, I think he needs to change his name, about making his $15 million. So here's what I would say.
Go, George.
If he would donate that $15 million to whatever organization, I would trust his logic a lot better. But then when he complains about losing $9.2 million, it's like, dude, you just made 15. I don't get it. You didn't lose anything except some of your time. So that's my problem. What's your statement on that?
The last thing I'm worried about is whether or not Kevin O'Leary's losing money. He's doing just fine. So
Yeah.
if he's complaining about it, and I've seen a few things pop up, I don't know. Is he out there complaining?
Yeah,
I mean,
he's going making the circuit too.
Well, he's got a lot of nerve to complain. And
Yeah,
let me tell
I
you
know.
this, in my personal opinion, his FUD, which he created for his own personal reasons regarding Bitcoin, in my opinion, is one of the reasons Bitcoin went into this crypto bear market winter, whatever you want to call it. He was a heavy participant in spreading the FUD,
dirty,
in my opinion.
dirty minds. And he's never once talked about Stronghold, because I love Stronghold. I don't know if they're going to make it, but I love them.
He wants his own Bitcoin mining company, so, of course, all the other ones have to be bad.
When everybody sits there and talks about how bad Bitcoin is, all you have to do is say Stronghold, and go show them the video and look what it's doing for Pennsylvania. I mean, that is changing the future of people in Pennsylvania. People forget about this.
Yeah, and they're not the only ones doing good things. A lot, there's nuclear is becoming a big part of an energy source for Bitcoin mining. All the Canadian well, not all of them, but most of the Canadian miners use a massive amount of hydro. Now, there is some FUD going on in Canada, too. I think the main power company, I think, in Quebec is not going to have any new Bitcoin mining projects start for a period of time. So if they're already there and they're up and running, it's not affecting them, but they're putting a moratorium on starting new stuff is what I think I read today. So, and a couple of companies came out. We have not talked about Argo blockchain. If anybody knows what's going on with Argo blockchain, I'd appreciate you can leave it in the chat, because if you don't know, they put out their monthly operational update. So it was not good, in my opinion. I did a video on it if you want to check it out. But they did not trade today. Trading was halted the entire day. So I'm just going to go see if that lasted all the way to 4 o'clock. So yeah, they did not trade today. This volume, that's yesterday. They were, so in aftermarket they're trading again. So in before market, pre-market, they were way down. In aftermarket they're way down, but trading was halted during regular trading hours. You could not buy or sell this stock for 1 second of the trading day today. So that is probably not a good sign.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's see. Hold on.
I've already said that. Let's see. What is it?
We got 1 hour ago. We got some new info. Shares of Bitcoin miner Argo blockchain suspended in UK and US. Oh, that's not new info. The exact reason for the suspension was not disclosed, but it typically is due to the pending release of news. So if they have pending release of news, my guess is it's not good news, because otherwise, why would they put... They did a press release today.
Right there, it says it in the second line.
At the end of October, Argo said that a deal to raise $27 million from a strategic investor had fallen through. Sent its shares. So yeah, that sent its shares tumbling 70%, and they're down significantly from that point right now, because things have gotten worse. They issued a press release today that said they may have to cease doing business. So if they have another press release coming out, I find it hard to believe that it's going to have some good news in it. Or why would you release... Today, December 9th, they released a press release that said,
why?
We may have to cease doing business. They're out of money.
Right.
That's the same. The answer to that is always the same.
Time to go to an auction.
They're out of money. So if they can't raise money, then they said...
Is this a shock to you, or did you anticipate
No, I've done a couple videos on this. These guys have been... This is not a surprise. This should not come as a surprise. These guys have been struggling, and their plan never really made that much sense to me to begin with. But, they moved in. They wanted to do their thing in Texas as well, and they were going to do a big expansion. But I don't think the numbers added up, and, they bought in at the wrong time, and all those things that led them down the path where they have no liquidity. No liquidity. no operating business. It's just that simple.
Are we all together, add up all the top 10 miners, are we under $500 million now?
No. In market cap?
Yeah.
Yeah, just Marathon's at 580.
Oh, okay. Are we under $1 billion then?
No, we got under 3 billion. We were at like 2.8 billion, and I think we're probably lower than that today because that was last Friday.
So
and
2 billion?
I'm pretty sure but maybe 2.6, 2.5, and that's just a guess.
Wow.
I'll do the math and show everybody tomorrow in my weekend update, but
Elon, call. Maybe we can make a deal. Buy the whole sector.
yeah. Austin is saying Kevin O'Leary is a clown ever since his Hive FUD. Yeah, he came out against several. Thank you, Kevin. I'm not caught up on the chat. Thank you, Kevin. If you have a question, let me know. Special thanks to Kevin through this whole bear market situation. Kevin's been a champ every week, so I appreciate it.
That's the name of the book. You ready? The name of the book was Laws of Success by Napoleon Hill. Want to change your life? Read it. Hard read. Very hard read. That book changed it. It's 25 principles to live your life. And those 25 principles are so true.
Do I got to make my bed every morning?
No, it actually says don't make your bed. Why waste your time?
Ah, good. See, I'm on the road to success.
I remember the one guy, well, at least you've accomplished one thing today. You've made your bed. No, you've accomplished nothing if you make your bed. Because you don't get paid to freaking make your bed.
Yeah, that's not bringing any money in the door.
Kevin just gave me $1.99 for that comment. Don't make your bed. Say, George says don't make your bed. It's a waste of time. You got to get out the door. I have it so I can be out the door in 5 minutes and that's shaved, showered, and everything.
That's
3 S's.
That's fast.
Yeah, if I got to. I mean, you know what I mean? You got to go. I mean, that's why I have a short hair. Short hair.
Shaman said O'Leary has his own Bitcoin miner in, and that is thank you, Kevin, again. Much appreciated.
Does it take that much longer for it to show up on you?
I don't know. Do you guys hear the noise? It does a little thing.
Oh, Kevin, here he goes again. Everybody, you want to know what's so funny? Everybody probably thinks that we actually know Kevin and we're doing this to ourselves. We don't know Kevin, guys. Just so you know, we've met Kevin through the stream.
No, but Kevin has been here a lot of Fridays in a row, and I appreciate it, Kevin. These are hard times, so thank you. It's much appreciated.
But anyways, where were you going?
And there's a bunch of people that show up every Friday, so thank you to all you guys that show up every Friday. Obviously, special thanks to Kevin for contributing, but thanks to everybody that shows up, and thanks to the members that have already joined. There's several members on our chat right now, so
just
thank
you. Tom made me eat sugar today. I haven't had sugar in 2 weeks. Just so you know, and he's like, George, you got to have sugar for the stream. Kevin's been here since the beginning. Nice.
Gary's saying that this was on my 6 endangered miners list. So yeah, they're and I have another. Those 6 I thought stood out. I have 5 more that I think are potentially
on the chop block.
Yes.
Kevin, I had to tell you something else. Well, the whole reason Tom and I started this was the whole thing is Kudab, and that's can you do any better? We're not very good at marketing.
Kevin said he's been here since the beginning. Feels like family. Well, thank you, Kevin. Appreciate you being here all the while. Much love to everyone.
That family hug. Family hug. Hey, Tom, I'm trying to get Tom to go to TikTok, by the way. Does anybody have TikTok? Does anybody watch TikTok? TikTok.
Who's on TikTok?
I love TikTok.
Should we do a poll? Should I go on TikTok?
That's a great poll, I think.
All right, a quick poll.
We've gotten lost all over the chat today. We apologize. It's been one of those hectic days. But I think we've had some good discussion. Bitcoin up, Bitcoin bad is down is bad, very bad. Not prudent.
Wouldn't be prudent.
Ooh, a pull for Bitcoin bottom. I think Tom's still calling the bottom. I still think I think these next 2 weeks are going to be very interesting in the stock market overall. I think that you're going to have a sell-off because some people are going to take some profits or take the losses and book them in for the year.
I mean, it is possible some people will be doing that to offset profits. And if so, they've probably already started.
Yeah.
The best time to do, for me, in my opinion, the best time to do that is as close to the beginning of December as possible, because you beat the crowd, as stocks get beat down in December. But what do I know? All right, I'm posting the poll. What? No. Boom. Sometimes I'm challenged on the technical front, technology front.
Hey, thanks, Mac. I couldn't think of a better group to lose money with. Uh-oh, it's tied 40-40. That is a great comment.
I'm not caught up. Where was that?
But Bitcoin is a truth meter. Okay? I had a dream about Bitcoin the other day. You know how like things solve world hunger? Right? You've heard, right? There's things that we can do to solve world hunger if we really wanted to. It's just like the whole thing with Roe v. Wade. If the government didn't want it to be an issue right now, they could have passed a law right now from federal and changed that. But they want it to be an issue because it's a hot topic. Not getting into politics. I have no
opinion on that either one way or the other.
I'm not getting into politics. But my whole thing is this.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
I believe Bitcoin solves a lot of problems. Did you hear about the 4 billionaires that got killed the last 30 days? This is TikTok stuff. They were all made different coins. They've all made different. I'm not saying they're related.
It requires the icon when you.
I'm not saying it's related. I'm not saying that that they all got. I don't know what happened. I'm just saying, hey, did you hear about there's 4 people that invented different cryptos that are no longer with us. Not saying how they died. I don't know how they died. I'm just saying that this is, and a few of them were from Vladimir Putin's location.
I have to say, yes, I heard about that, but it was from you, so that does not count. I have not heard about that from a third-party source.
I agree. TikTok is a dangerous app. I actually agree with that statement. There's
Gary, I didn't know Tom could even dance. I'm not dancing on TikTok.
You're not gonna dance?
No.
You know what you probably should do? You should have put down Twitter. Because you stopped. Do you still tweet at all? Are you tweeting?
No, I would love to get back onto Twitter, I guess. I'm trying to focus. I want to read everybody's comment on YouTube, right? We're a YouTube channel. That's where we're centered around. And I try to read every single comment every single day. And it's getting harder and harder to do, but I'm still trying to do that. So if I try to add something else, like I'm already up at midnight reading people's comments. But if we decide to, we can add TikTok.
I don't know. Twitter. What about Twitter?
You would think Twitter would be easier. I should just, when something pops into my head, I could tweet it, but we've done no marketing on Twitter. The account is very, very small, so we're like starting from ground zero, but sure. Yeah, I mean, we all have 100 thoughts a day that market related, not just random thoughts.
Like if a bear pooped in the woods?
I don't think that's...
Would you
That's
smell
not
it?
how it goes, no.
That's not how it goes?
No.
Something about a tree falling and a bear next to it.
If if tree falls on a bear,
Does
can he
anybody
catch
care? Does anybody care?
Barry's saying,
Uh-oh. Kevin's calling you out, too. Go ahead.
calling me out?
Yeah.
For what? Let me go. Go ahead.
He says if he buys enough stickers, he thinks you'll dance. Hey, for the first hour of this stream, it's serious, okay? You got to give us a few minutes to have fun, right?
Shaman saying, I've called the bottom 16 times. Yeah, but most of it's the same bottom. You're right. I've called the bottom actually 4 times. So
I have not called the bottom. So Tom's called it. I have not.
George has said all along he thinks we're going to much lower numbers. I have called the bottom 4 times.
I just think we're going below 10,000.
The last time I called the bottom, it held for 5 full months, and then FTX exploded. So, yes, I'm calling a bottom again, and I could be wrong again because, maybe tomorrow Binance goes out of business, and then obviously that would send a shockwave or whatever. I'm using that as an example. Not that there has any credence to that. It's just a random example.
Look at the follower. Holy smokes. On Facebook, I'm looking at the followers. Oh, wow. What about Facebook? Does anybody use that? Or as I like to call it, Meta?
That's right.
Nobody else calls it that, but I call it Meta.
I don't use Facebook anymore. I'm in the metaverse now, so.
Yeah, me too.
I got a real nice place in there if you want to ever stop by. Barry said, when Tom and George started, there was a lot more about electric cars. They doing anything these days? So, Barry, I still follow the EV sector just as closely as I do the Bitcoins. People seem to lose interest and we're much more focused on Bitcoins, but yeah, I keep a close eye on all that. And actually, Elon Musk had a tweet today that said, Lucid is not long for this world. Lucid Motors.
Nobody wants you to do TikTok.
Oh, really? Is that how?
Yeah. Hey, what about Rivian? We started to see a lot of those vehicles driving around.
By a lot, we saw one. I saw one.
Yeah, I've seen a lot too.
I saw one in your neighborhood, so you probably see one every day. So
it's the same one, same color.
Seen it 100 times though. It's
but
still there.
How long do you think they have, or what do they need to stay alive?
Those companies are complicated, and if I remember correctly, not Rivian, the other one. Who's the one you just said?
Neo?
Oh, yeah, no, Rivian, Lucid and Rivian.
Lucid.
No, Neo is got their own story. One of those guys has a massive relationship with Amazon, and I think that is Rivian.
Yes, they do.
And so they both have a lot of cash on their balance sheet. They both are burning cash like there's no tomorrow. So those are companies I did a video on each one of those saying I would not touch either one of those with a 10-foot pole in my personal opinion. So you don't have to go back and watch my videos. That's what I said. But I think there are a lot of small cap electric vehicle and electric vehicle adjacent companies like battery companies, charging stations that have a big future, and they have been beaten down in a similar way to the Bitcoin mining stocks. I got a list of EV stocks that are all down but over 85%. And some of those are good companies. So, obviously every one of those isn't going to make it. Sometimes the stock's down 90% because they stink. And they deserve to be, but right now, when they all go down, chances are, if you look close enough, there were some good ones that went down with the bad ones. That's my philosophy.
Kevin says, look at Lordstown Motors, state of Ohio won't let them go out of business.
Yeah, Lordstown Motors, that's one that's on my list. They should be so long gone by now. It's incredible. But they're not.
So what do you think, and and I guess maybe I'm gonna probably leave after this one. But here's my last question for you:
Go.
the stock market next year. What do you think is going to happen to the stock market overall for next year? Do you think we're going to still continue this little slowly decrease, or do you think we're kind of closer to the bottom and we're going to see some recovery
Are we going to have a relief rally at any point by the end of 2020? Not a relief rally. Are we going to move back into a bull market
in 2023?
by the end of 2023?
Yes.
That is the question.
That is the question.
Alex, not Beam Global. You are correct, sir. Beam is one of my favorites. Beam ticker
still?
BEEM.
How's it doing?
It's over $20. I mean,
Oh, it's still going up?
yeah, it's doing great. And relatively speaking to the fact that everything's getting destroyed, Beam's doing great. But to me, that's a formula. I love what they do. I've done a few videos on them. I want to do another video on them, but they don't.
Whoa.
People don't really seem to care. What?
Nothing I can't talk about is politics, but something just happened.
Nope. This is a politic-free zone. We get to
we don't like politics.
Enjoy and relax here. Dividend stocks have been working, said Michael Anthony.
So Twitter, I can't believe Twitter. I'm gonna become a Twitter king, I guess.
Austin's saying chip and clean energy companies will both benefit by the Inflation Reduction Act and CHIPS Act long-term plays. Yeah, and the chip stocks had a tough 2022. So they're all at a pretty good purchase price right now if you think that they're going to recover. And the Taiwanese semiconductor, if I'm saying that right, is investing a lot of money in the U.S. to start making their semiconductor stuff over here. However, I did read yesterday that they are going to make the second newest generation in the United States, and they're going to save will be making their latest and greatest still in Taiwan. So, but it's a big step in the right direction because that's a supply chain issue that has hit so many different parts of the market that we need some solutions in supply chain. Everyone's going to laugh that what I like Intel, but I know that I'm the only one. So Darren says I have a position in Fisker. I like them. Yep. I like their future. I don't know why Fisker doesn't trade like Lucid or Rivian. They're, in my opinion, better company. So, and I think their sales will be well ahead. Within 2 years, they'll be outselling those guys by a lot, in my opinion. Jay said, no, dude, I still have half my position, which I am hodl. That is why I asked you about CleanSpark. That was for @Shaman. Well, you guys know Georgia and I both like CleanSpark a lot, so they're on our list. So let's see. Michael Anthony is saying should sell Beam before Powell speaks next week. That is going to be a massive factor next week. We've got we had PPI data come out today, which nobody cares about. It affected the market for like 20 minutes. But next week we have CPI, and then we have the Fed on back-to-back days. So that is definitely going to dictate what the action is in the market for the rest of the year. And when is that? Next Tuesday? That's next Tuesday and Wednesday. So I guess there's not much year left.
When were they talk about? When were they
2 o'clock on Wednesday, we're going to find out what the rate hike is. Everybody thinks it's going to be 50 basis points. That is the vast majority of people. I think it's still possible they could do 75, but it just seems
if they do 75, what's going to happen to the market?
Bad things.
Bad things.
Bad things.
I know this maybe is not a popular statement to say it this way, but I hope he does 75. I just want it to be over with.
You want to wash this thing out and
Yes.
get to where we're going so we can move on.
Yes.
But that's not how these guys make the most money. They drag it out and make it as painful as possible.
Uh-oh, Dr. Phil is saying 2023 is going to be bad. I hope not. I can't do a whole nother year of this. Dude. I hope there's a rally. Me too.
Alex bought Intel. All right. So we're on the same page on that one. Nice.
All right, I'm sneaking out, everyone. Thanks for watching.
All right, George.
Tom,
thanks for being
close us
here.
out.
Have a good weekend. I'll stick around for just a few
too.
more minutes. Everybody, that was George. All right, I think I switched over to the right thing here. Maybe. Yes. All right. Anybody who hasn't liked and subscribed, it helps us. We got 55 likes. Thank you, everybody. If you haven't smashed the like button, I appreciate it. Let's see. Dr. Phil's. I think we're having a secular shift to a low-growth, high-interest economy. My evidence is the lack of policy to fix the supply side of the economy. 2023 will be bad. I think that must be the one that George read that made him decide to go home. Mike Robinson, hey, says, hope there is a rally. Raul, can you talk about the hash difficulty and what happens if one or two of these miners stop? My understanding is Riot isn't even 2% of the total hash rate. So the hash rate, we did have a difficulty level adjustment to the downside. I think it was on December 6th. So the difficulty level went down 7% on the 6th. And that is after October. I think it was late September, and then all of October and early November. The difficulty level went up significantly. So, you know, everybody's mining figures, their efficiency levels really got beat up because the difficulty level went up so much. It has pulled back 7%. So we got to wait another couple weeks to see what happens after that. But it amazes me, the fluctuation in worldwide hash rate. Inside of the same week, it could fluctuate anywhere from, we got down to, and this was an anomaly, but we got down to 200 exahash worldwide like a week ago, which makes no sense. 2 or 3 weeks before that, we were at 316, which was the all-time record. And now we seem to be somewhere between 240 and 280 exahash. And things seem to be leveling out there. So, and I do see a lot of companies now, even when they buy new machines, they're switching them out for their old machines that are not profitable anymore. So even if a lot of new machines come online, I don't know that we're going to have a massive run up in the exahash rate like maybe we would have if Bitcoin was at 50,000 or 100,000. Kevin's saying, do you ever buy any puts? Yes, I do buy some puts, both as protection, and I haven't really bought any as protection in a while. If something's running up, because I'm a buy and hold person, so, you know, if and when these things ever run up, rather than sell my stocks, I will probably, you know, put some puts on as insurance. But also sometimes I'll buy puts, and not so much in the Bitcoin miner sector, but there's lots of other stocks. I don't short stocks. So in lieu of that, I will buy puts sometimes if I think there's value in them. But, you know, it's hard because the market prices those in a way where it's hard to make money. But I do some of that. CleanSpark had its first day over 20 coins today. All right, that is from Gary. Old record was under 20. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I like everything CleanSpark is doing. They put up great numbers every month. They've already got, I know they're going to get to, they've already purchased themselves up to 7 exahash. It's just how long it's going to take them to get all that online. And I suspect, you know, by the end of January, they'll be at 7 exahash. So, you know, I think I like what they're doing. Alex is saying no profit, Michael, yet at Boom, just huge growing sales. Predict profitability mid to end of 2023. Mike Robinson's bullish on Marathon and CleanSpark. Darren gives Gary double thumbs up. Jay is asking Tom, you might check the numbers for us, but liquidation value, book value minus book liabilities is way more than the current market now. That makes no sense. So yeah, so I think Jay is talking about book value versus market cap right now is way out of whack for some of these companies. Now, a lot of people will argue, oh, well, that's because, you know, the Bitcoin mining machines aren't worth anything anymore, so they should be writing them down. But remember, they do. Every single one of the Bitcoin miners, to my knowledge, and maybe there's one exception out there to this rule, they all have picked a 2-year depreciation schedule for their Bitcoin miners. So that is about as aggressive as a depreciation schedule as you can get. And what that means is from the day they buy them, over the next 2 years, they write 100% of the cost off. So it's not like, even if they bought them for a lot of money, it's not like they sit on their books at that amount of money forever. Within 2 years, they've written them off down to zero. So I feel like, yes, Jay, I'm going to do an analysis of book to market, book value to market cap, essentially. And a lot of most of these are now, market cap is now less than their book value. Some of them are as low as like half of their book value. Jay's saying, referring to Bitfarms, I think in specific with that. Yeah, I'll do that for that, but I'd like to look at all of those. I think that's a good one. Dr. Phil, I don't want to be overly negative. I think there's big opportunities for value investors. So Dr. Phil's has a more of a long-term outlook. Mike said, bought Mara at $10, now at $5, depressing. Well, yes, true, Mike, but if you're in for the long term, remember it was at $80 a year ago. So these Bitcoin mining stocks are either going to, like the ones that don't make it, unfortunately, they're not going to make it. And, you know, there's money to be lost there. But the ones that survive whatever's happening right now, there's the potential for very big. We've seen 50Xs with the Bitcoin mining companies in short windows of time. So, you know, I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen next, but that has already, that's not a prediction or a theoretical thing that could happen if X, Y, or Z happens. That's already happened to both Marathon and Riot have in the neighborhood of 50X'd inside of a 1-year window of time in the past. So, you know, and they don't, listen, they don't have to be a 50X to be a massive Grand Slam home run. If they're a 5X or a 10X, those are all gigantic gains that you're really not going to find. But obviously, there was a lot of risk involved, and a lot of us are down. I'm down on, you know, all my stocks, all my Bitcoin mining stocks that I own, I'm down on. So, but it's okay because I have confidence in those companies, and I'm not selling them. So. Jay said, feel better, we're doing a lot worse. Core over 50 today at 50.9 Bitcoin daily mined. Yeah, it's amazing. They continue, you know, despite their financial problems and they've defaulted on their loans, and I don't even know that the official notification of that has gone out, but they have notified the world that they defaulted on their loans. So that starts the process of what I think is probably going to end up in a bankruptcy and a reorganization. But in the meantime, they have all their machines on and they're mining Bitcoin like crazy. I mean, that's between, I think, how much do they have? They may have as many between what they mine themselves and what they host. They could be at like 20 exahash right there. So they're a big player. And I don't know if that's going to turn off one day, or if they were going to be able to find a way to mine all the way through. They must be paying their electric bill, or I would think the electric company would not, whoever they're doing business with, would not keep letting them run that amount of massive electricity So, yeah. But the problem is even 50 Bitcoin a day is nowhere near enough to cover their monthly operating expenses plus their interest expense plus the principal due on their debt. That's what's putting them into trouble. That's where they're getting a default. Because with those three things added up together, even at 50 Bitcoin a day, they still can't pay for all of that. So that's why they need a restructuring organizationally, because they've got to find a way, you know, to restructure that debt in a way that they can pay it back over time or whatever the case may be. So I think that's all still ahead. That's my opinion. Daniel said, I'm also a huge Bitfarm holder. What's your take on its price in 2023, considering their inevitable recession? You know, I think there's a recession, but I always like to point out the market's always ahead of the economy. So I think we're in a recession. I think we've been in a recession, and I know it's splitting hairs a little bit, and some people say, well, some of the parameters, you know, don't necessarily equal a recession, but this is what, to me, this is what a recession feels like. I think it's going to continue, yes, but I think the market is a lot closer to bottoming. The market will bottom out, you know, potentially maybe even a year before the economy bottoms out and recovers. So that's the period, you know, and obviously that's a timing thing, and I don't like to guess, so that's why I hold all my stocks through this whole down period. I held Bitfarms. I am holding them at 49 cents because I believe they're going to go back to, you know, however long it takes. They were at $9 a year ago. So, you know, I see them getting back to that. The question is it that a 1-year proposition? Is that a 3-year proposition? Who knows? So I can only guess, but to me, that's, unless they go under, and I like what they're doing. So to me, I think they're not going to. So how much of a price increase would be needed to get a trend back and not a dead cat bounce? I think we would need to start setting like a higher high. So if I go to the 1 day, might even need to go to the 1 week for this. So even like we've had 2 big rallies this year. This was the June bottom. We rallied from, you know, 17, which we flash crashed down to. We got all the way back to $25,000. So that was a giant rally, and that ended in the middle of August. Then we also had, you know, not quite as big, but as a percentage, very close, from mid-September through the October 31st, we had a rally again. And that was, I'm just going to do that because that was a bigger rally than people think. Well, that was 18%, so maybe it was less of a rally than I thought. I thought it was over a 20% rally, but that was a nice little relief rally. And again, that one got shut down by, this is FTX. So I feel like, see what happened here? And obviously this is only my personal opinion and it could be dead wrong. It seemed like this was doing this. And then FTX happened and we got this red candle. So to me, until we get back above where we got on October 31st, anything short of that is just a relief rally, in my opinion. We would have to take that number out. So that number is at around 21,000, call it 21,500 if we round up. So I think until we get past that, this is all just moving up and down in the same range, and, you know, relief rallies that, you know, may result in another downturn in the market. So, but there's a bull market out there somewhere in the Bitcoin world, when, I guess I will say, right? This isn't going to last forever, in my opinion. Although some people are I think Jim Cramer was calling for a lot of these cryptos to go to zero. So, and some of them will. I just don't think Bitcoin's one. Let's see. Tom now says at some point, which is fine with me, he has a right to revise his views like the rest of us. I don't know. I must have flip-flopped something. Tom, after the video unplugged, did you buy their stock? Anybody else Should go check that video out. Yes, thanks, Darren. That is good. I have not bought Plug yet, and I've hardly bought anything. I've dollar cost averaged into few of these Bitcoin miners because they're just getting to numbers that continue to blow my mind. And I think Plug could, I really like Plug. If you watch my video, you'll see that that's one I really like. But I think it's not bottomed out yet. And I could be wrong, and I could miss the run. And I'm going to miss the run on certain things. There's only so many I can catch. If I can, if I'm right and there's a lower low on that one, I probably will get into it. I have 5 or 6 stocks like on my bubble that I'm not in, that I would love to get into next, but I'm being very selective right now because there are so many stocks at or near their 52-week low or 2-year low or all-time low. Mike is saying Bitcoin's next new high is predicted at $170,000. So I guess that would be the next bull cycle. I think everybody here would be happy with that. Colton, welcome. Yes, we're still going. This is live. And Douglas is saying the June-August rally was cut short by the Powell speech along with the equities. All should rally soon. Well, Douglas, I hope that you are correct. I mean, we are so overdue for at least some kind of relief rally. This has been 2022 will not be looked back fondly by investors. This was a rough one. I don't care who you were. This was a tough year. Gary said the site wouldn't be good if Tom was pessimistic on Bitcoin miners for the last year. Yeah, I mean, I'm genuinely optimistic, and you can be wrong until you're right, and that the stock market is a long game. And I've said since I started this channel, I'm a long-term investor. Now, Bitcoin's definitely gone to places that I did not expect it to go. So I'm not. These numbers are all not where I thought we were going. But sometimes that's the journey. So I'm still optimistic. I don't even think it's optimism. I think it's realistic if you just look at all the factors in the way I look at all the things still yet ahead to come. We've experienced a massive coordinated amount of FUD over a 1-year period, in addition to the fact that Bitcoin was overheated, and even all the technicals were showing that at 69,000. So it looked like it was ready for a pullback, and then it was just, one punch after the next, and we're down to some numbers that I never expected to get to. So, that's one of the great lessons in the stock market. The market can be irrational for longer than you can remain solvent, is what I think the original, I can't remember who said that. Barry said, did you see Kramer's call on Lulu today? Another bad call. No, I did not. What was his call? Raul says January rally to reset the financial year. Mike says January 2023, there is going to be a rally. I hope you guys are correct. I'm still waiting for my relief rally that I called a month ago. Darren's saying, I'd be let down if the next bull cycle stops short of $225,000 on a weekly candle. So Darren's looking for $225,000. And I have numbers like that in my head too, but I will tell you, I'm not going to, if it's 170, that's a 10x from here. So I'm not going to cry in my soup if it's 170. But I don't disagree with you, Darren. 220, 225, 250. But we'll see. I mean, it's hard to imagine those numbers because we're at the absolute other end of the journey right now. But for those of you that have been watching crypto long enough, like this is not new news. I did think we would avoid this crypto winter type situation. I really did, but here we are. Jay said, Tom, agree that Bitcoin was overheated and FTX cooled it down. So maybe all the pain is a blessing in disguise. No pain, no gain. So that's how I'm looking at it. I mean, I've been dollar cost averaging in until I'm blue in the face. So, and I continue to do so. But I did, at one point, a year ago, I was in 10 or 11 miners. So back in March, I scaled that down to 5. And, so I've been a lot more selective, but I'm still dollar cost averaging into the ones that I have the highest conviction in. Mike's saying 225 would be a diamond encrusted kitchen. 225K when is the question? So yeah, I mean, and that's what none of us know the answer to that. The when is the whole thing. And can you hold out? And, I'm not telling anybody to buy or sell. I've been super clear about my position. I'm a buy and hold. And I'll tell you, I had one of my stocks go away. I had a buy and hold position in Romeo. That was a high risk stock. And, when they sold themselves, they got bought out, and I just cashed out at that point, and it was for pennies on the dollar, so I lost on that one. This was a tough year. There were an awful lot of losing stocks this year. People are saying 101K-ish in 2025. That's what Brown Bowie is saying. He's saying, I think 225 is too high. So it's hard to, it's hard to tell. All these numbers seem, just think of how, when we were at 69,000, think of how impossible it seemed that we were going to be at 17,000 a year later. So the reverse is true as well. We're going to be at some number that's much bigger than this, that right now it's just hard to comprehend because we're so deep into a bear market or a crypto winter, if you want to call it that, trying to pick the upside, trying to pick the top of the next bull market sounds like madness right now. But the day will come. Wisdom Bites is saying there's a high probability that Bitcoin will go to 12 or 13K. Where do you see the miners then? So, I mean, even if Bitcoin were to go to... Here's the thing that's happening. I mean, how much more downside is there? And I know this is not the first time we've heard that, but a lot of these Bitcoin miners are at, $10 million, $15 million, $20 million market caps. There's not much more they can go before they go out of business. So... Bitfarms is down to a $100 million market cap. Could it go down to a $50 million? I suppose. If Bitcoin has an extended rough run down to 12 or 13,000, it could get cut in half again. I can't rule that out. But if it does, I will be dollar cost averaging in. Obviously, unless, we all have to be flexible to the point where when new information comes in, we've got to adjust our plans accordingly. So if the story changes on a stock, you got to do what you got to do. But for now, I'm a believer in Bitfarms. So, and several other. I think there's a bunch of these that are going to make it out the other end of this and have great success. But it's hard to see that right now. So, and I think there's some other optimistic people on this stream. I don't think everybody here has a pessimism view of Bitcoin. I'm going to end this poll because it is clear that people do not want me to go on to TikTok. So I am glad about those results. I'd like to thank everybody for voting no on that. And I'm ending that poll while I still can. All right, so I'm going to probably wrap it up. We've gone over here a little bit, but I want to thank everybody. As always, thank you so much for joining me all week this week. Thanks for watching the videos. The channel's really been doing strong in such a bad market. I appreciate you guys sticking with me and watching the videos. It makes a big difference. Hitting the like button, leaving comments, all that stuff. So I want to thank everybody. I want to thank the members in specific. And for the members, we'll see you on Tuesday for a live stream. For everyone else, we do our regular live stream, this one, every Friday. So thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend, everybody, and go Bitcoin.